Hello everyone, this is Trifleck, and I'm here with a Naya Allies deck tech from Scapeshifters. So, here's the deck all laid out for you guys. Basically, the whole plan is to play a bunch of allies, make them really big, and attack with them. So we have, basically, there's three parts of the deck. There's the creatures, the ways to get the creatures out, and then the lands. And you know, that's a boring part. But we're still going to go over the mana base, because it's kind of complicated. So, the creatures here, our main powerhouses are the Hada Freeblade, which has, whenever an ally enters the battlefield, or, you know, itself enters the battlefield, it gets a 1/1 counter. These two have the same ability. You have the Oran-Rief Survivalist, and the Kazandu Blademaster. The Kazandu Blademaster also has First Strike and Vigilance, which makes it really good. Next, we have Akoum Battlesinger, which is like the most dangerous card in the deck. This is whenever it or an ally enters the battlefield, ally creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. That is huge. When I first saw this card, I was like, that's not that big of a deal. It's a big deal. If you have this and you play 2 allies and you have 3 allies out, suddenly you've got 6 more power on the board. If you have 2 of these out, it's ridiculous. So, yeah. Then we have Harabaz Druid. And this is just a way for us to get our creatures out quickly. Unfortunately, a lot of decks will just kill it, which is not great. A lot of decks will not know to kill it, which is also great. It's pretty great to have this out. We can get a turn 3 Collected Company out with it, with a bunch of allies that can make tons of mana, which we can put back into more allies. Okay, then we've got kind of our, these are 3-drop allies. These are our, like supplementary allies, kind of. They, a couple of these are new. We've got Firemantle Mage. Its ability to give allies menace, all our creatures menace, whenever an ally or itself enters the battlefield. So that helps us swing by creatures. We want it in matchups where we're playing against like elves, affinity, any of like the other Coco decks. This is a good way to just get through damage. We have Lantern Scout. This is going to give us lifelink. And it's great. Lifelink is really good because you can have it, you want it in creature matchups because it lets you turn everything sideways, not worry about the kickback because you're gaining a bunch of life. It's good against burn matchups because you're not taking damage. It's good against fringe matchups like, I don't know, like Scapeshift or, I don't know, other decks that just deal damage in some ways. Like, I won against, what's the deck? 8-Rack. I run it against 8-Rack with it because I had an extra turn before they could kill me. And then a Kabira Evangel. Now, these are in Chinese because I bought them on eBay, and they're really cheap in China. So, this card has the ability, whenever it or another ally enters the battlefield, ally creatures I control gain protection from a color of my choice until the end of turn. And this is another way to just swing in for damage. It's a great way to protect our creatures, especially with Collected Company, which you can play at instant speed. I had a great play the other night. Somebody pathed my Blademaster. I Collected Company and happened to find one of these guys, gave him protection, swung in for lethal. It's just great. It has amazing 2-for-1 potential. It's a great card. Okay, the last ally on our deck is Expedition Envoy. This is a new ally. It is just a 1-drop vanilla 2/1, and it doesn't do anything except trigger all of the other allies, which means it does a lot. So this is one of the first cards we side out. It's not awesome, but I've had other stuff in the spot. I've played Scout's Warning. I've played Champion of the Parish. It was all lackluster, and this card, it's usually just hitting for value. Like, early game, it's not great. You don't want to play one of these turn 1 if you can help it. If you have a really weird hand with like 3 of them, you can sometimes play them turn 1. Like 3 of these and an Akoum Battlesinger to pump them up is not terrible. But it's best to get a couple counters on our Kazandu Blademaster, an extra mana from our Harabaz Druid. Just being able to trigger any of these guys is really great. So, next we have our things to get allies out. Aether Vial. My favorite card. I love this card. I play fish. I play allies. What's in common? Aether Vial. It's great. It's good for any creature strategy. Allies like Merfolk, you put it on 2. You've got 16 cards you can cast with it. Allies gives you a little more range because we have 8 1-drops and 7 3-drops you can cast with it as well. It also works great with the Kabira Evangel because we can give instant speed protection. I did some really weird shenanigans with it the other day. I was playing against an 8-Rack deck, and they had an Ensnaring Bridge out, but these allies have 0 power. So they can attack into an Ensnaring Bridge, and then you just Aether Vial and Akoum Battlesinger to pump them up, and you're swinging for damage. And it was great. And I was able to bounce the Akoum Battlesinger with an Ally Encampment, which I'll get you in a second. Okay, and then Collected Company. This card from Khans of Tarkir, or Dragons of Tarkir rather, has really pushed all of these little creature synergy decks just like over the top recently. This is why we have Podless Pod. This is why we have these Zoo decks. I mean, we've had Zoo before, but this really helps a lot. The ability to get 2 allies, instant speed, turn 4, turn 3 if we have Harabaz Druid. It is just the nail in the coffin for most decks. Usually you want to cast these at, like the end of your opponent's turn so they don't have as much information. But a lot of the time in this deck, I'm going to cast them on my main phase, just in case if I have an Akoum Battlesinger, I want to get triggers on it, or these guys before damage, want to give them more counters. So the next thing we've got is the mana base. Now this being Naya, the mana base has to be a little bit funky, but it's not too bad. We have 2 Razorverge Thickets, because the majority of the deck is white-green. We have Expedition Envoys, Harabaz Druids, Hada Freeblades, all of our 1-drops can be played with Razorverge Thicket. All of our 2-drops, with the exception of Akoum Battlesinger, can be played off Razorverge Thicket, so it's fine. Then we have our Shocklands. We are only running 4 Shocklands. We're running 1 Stomping Ground, 1 Sacred Foundry, and 2 Temple Garden. Most of the time we're fetching for a Temple Garden. Sometimes we'll get a Sacred Foundry. I almost never get this Stomping Ground, but I like having it in the deck just in case. Then we have our basic lands. We are running 4 basic lands. We don't want to take too much damage, so we've got a mountain, 2 plains, and a forest. This doesn't look like a forest. This is an awesome card. This is a misprinted German 4th edition. It says Wald right there. Yeah, there it is. That means forest in German, and it has a green mana symbol down there. It was printed with the Plains art, which is really cool. And I've been trying to find the matching Plains art on Beta Plains, but I can't find them anywhere. I went to a Star City Games Regional, and none of the vendors had them, which is really disappointing. And then we've got fetch lands, because fetch lands are fun. I love fetch lands. I love fetching and shuffling my library, because I don't get to do it with Merfolk, but I just like shuffling. So we have 2 Order Fidels and 3 Windswept Heath. And the same deal with the Shocklands, we don't want to deal ourselves too much damage. With a mana base like this, it's really easy to get greedy and deal ourselves like 9 damage by turn 3. But we don't want to do that. That's just nasty. So we're only going to have 5 fetch lands, and that's plenty. I am very, very rarely hurting for mana in this deck, or for colors rather. And when I am, it's usually because I kept a bad hand. But I guess a more consistent mana base would mean better hands, but I think it's fine. I think it's usually bad luck if it comes down to it. And most of the reason it's so consistent is because of these guys. These are all lands that can play allies for any color mana. Unfortunately, they cannot cast our Collected Companies, which is annoying, but we have all these other lands cast Collection Companies, so we don't care. Ally Encampment is awesome. It does as 1 mana of my mana, 1 mana of any color to cast allies. And then it has this other ability, which is sacrifice it, return target ally you control to its owner's hand. This is an amazing ability, especially with Aether Vial. It allows us to have like awesome combat tricks, dodge removal. Like I said, with 8-rack, we were able to bounce Akoum Battlesinger for more damage. It's just nasty. It's so great. This one land has so much utility. It's amazing. It's kind of like a Horizon Canopy, which I don't have in this deck because they're expensive. And then we have 2 Cavern of Souls. Again, I'm not sure if I would run 4 Cavern of Souls if I could. It's like most of our main board is allies or Aether Vial, so we can cast it. Having a ton of these cards that only produce brown mana for non-allies is hard with like Collected Company. We got a lot of cards in our sideboard that aren't allies that it's going to be a lot harder to cast. 2 is fine. I might push it to 3. 4 if there's a heavy control meta. Where I play, there's very little control, especially now that Twin's gone. It's just not much. But it's a great card. It makes us not afraid of Spell Snare, which is really scary when your deck is has 16 2-drops. So it helps us get through that. Yeah. So there's the main deck. The main strategy of the deck is we just want to push through with our creatures. The best way to do it is we really want that turn 1 Hada Freeblade or Aether Vial. And then from there we want to just keep pumping things out. We get our Kazandu Blademasters, Akoum Battlesingers, curve out with the Collected Company and win by turn 4. And it does it surprisingly often. So now we're going to move to sideboard. This deck has The matchups are all pretty solid. Like, it's not great against really removal heavy matchups like Jund, really heavy control decks like Blue Moon, stuff like that. It's great against creature matchups. It's great against Merfolk, stuff like that. Burn decks, because all these creatures, they can't get through allies. Allies grow so fast and so quickly that it's really hard to burn them out or punch through them. But for those decks that we can't easily beat, here's our sideboard. We have 1 Crumble to Dust, 2 Ancient Grudges, 2 Ondu Clerics, 2 Kataki, War's Wage, 3 Path to Exile, an Abzan Falconer, oh, another Crumble to Dust, whoops, 2 Return to the Ranks, and a Mirror Entity. So, this sideboard is mainly centered towards affinity and removal decks. For removal decks, we've got Return to the Ranks, which is amazing. It's like, we let them use 3 spells to kill 3 of our allies, return all 3 with Return to the Ranks, they just got 3 for 1. And we get all the triggers from the allies entering the battlefield, and they stack. So if we have 3 allies enter, each one gets 3 triggers, which is amazing. Path to Exile cleans up against creature decks. It's great against any deck with creatures. It's just some of the most efficient removal in Modern. I'm not too big a fan of them getting a land, but what are you going to do? At this point, you got to have some way to remove stuff, and this is the best way to do it. Crumble to Dust helps us against the Eldrazi decks a little bit, not too much, because by turn 4, especially if we're on the draw, that's too late. But if we're on the play, we have a Harabaz Druid, we can play at turn 3. That's a great way to just wreck them out of the game. It's also great against Tron. Like, if you get rid of one of those Tron lands, what are they going to do? Like, you no longer have Urza's Towers in your board, anywhere in your main board, anywhere in your deck. The end. The end. Goodbye, Tron. I guess, yeah, they don't run process for any way to get them back. It's done. Ancient Grudge and Kataki is our affinity hate, and Lantern Control hate, because Lantern Control is also a terrible matchup. And just anything with Ensnaring Bridge, because Ensnaring Bridge is gross. I hate that card. But Ancient Grudge kills 2 artifacts, which is great, and Kataki kills all the artifacts. So we actually have a pretty good affinity matchup because of this, and because our creatures are so quick growing. And because of the lifelink in the main, we have the Lantern Scouts to give us life gain, which is good against affinity. Obviously, it doesn't help that much against Inkmoth Nexus, but they only have 4 of those in the deck, so we can hopefully get around that. Then we have Ondu Cleric for some more life gain. Again, it's great for aggro matchups, great for burn. It can gain us insane amounts of life. In one turn, it could come down, you play it, play another ally, gain like 6 or 7 life that turn. Next turn, just keep gaining life. Off of a collected company, you can turn the game around by gaining 10 life with this guy. It's insane. We have Abzan Falconer and Mirror Entity. These are kind of our help against other big creature decks, or decks that go wide in general. So Abzan Falconer lets us fly over. What this does is each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it has flying. Almost all of our allies, or not all of them, but 12 of the allies we have in the board are going to have 1/1 counters on them. And those are most of our threatening allies. So just giving them flying and being able to push over for damage is great. Mirror Entity is a really cool card. So it is an ally. So we get all of our triggers off of it. It gets all of the same buffs. But it also has this great ability of pay X until end of turn. Creatures you control have base power and toughness XX and gain all creature types. The all creature types part is pretty whatever. But all of our allies are 0/1s, 1/1s. And their power comes from their +1 counters. So this is basically pay X, give all your creatures +X until end of turn, which is great. So yeah, this one really helps push through. It helps with Harabaz Druid because we can make an insane amount of mana and push through with it. But yeah, this is our deck. This is Naya Allies. It's a deck that I've been working on for, I don't know, three or so months. I really liked it. I haven't gotten to play it nearly as much as I'd like to in competitive tournaments, but I'm starting to get out there with it more. I'm going to start giving you guys match results and stuff. Tell me how you like it. Tell me if you have any ideas. I'd love to hear more ideas from it. It's a growing deck, and I want to hear from you if you think it's stupid to run certain cards. I personally don't think Abzan Falconer is that great. It might be worth running another Firemantle Mage in that place. But, well, we'll see. So be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. We're going to be coming out with more primers, more matchups for you guys. Tell us what matchups you want to see. We can make it happen. So until next time, this has been Triflick with a Modern Primer.